Hello and assalamu alaikum to everyone. Welcome to this video. In this video, we will be discussing about our ABW506 data storytelling and visualization assignment. For this assignment, we are analyzing a data set of a department store that we retrieve from Kaggle, and we will perform a deep analysis on trends, performance, goals, and forecasting. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to our group. My name is Ameer, and here are my amazing teammates. This presentation is brought to you by all of us. In this assignment, we are trying to answer these 5 research questions. Number 1, how do sales performance, customer volume, and margins shift across certain periods? Number 2, which department consistently achieve or fail to meet their revenue goals over time? Number 3, which sellers are the most efficient and consistent? Number 4, what patterns exist in missed revenue and margin goals? Are the goals realistic? And lastly, number 5, can past sales and margin trends be used to forecast future performance more accurately? And we need to provide a recommendation and conclusion for these research questions. Without wasting more time, let's get into it.
For the first part, we will present on how do revenue, customer volume, and sales quantity across departments vary with season. The first visual will be the yearly breakdown by seasons for revenue, customers, and sales quantity, which is presented using the line and clustered column chart. So the revenue will be represented by the bar chart, the customers and sales quantity will be the line chart, x-axis is the year, and the revenue, customer and sales quantity are on the y-axis. So as the time goes by, you can see the trend here. Next will be the line chart, which is represented for sales through the seasons. So the x-axis will be the month, which we include the season as well. And then the revenue and also customer and sales quantity is on the y-axis. The third one will be the departmental revenue, customers, and sales quantity by season, which is also represented by the line and clustered column chart. We group by summer, fall, winter, and spring, and then the x-axis remain as revenue and customer and sales quantity. So each bar chart represent the department. Another visual that we create to measure in more details would be a bar chart to measure lift in metric to compare, which is either sales quantity, revenue, or customers from a season to another season. So, for example, in this chart, we measure from summer to fall. So you can see here there is seasonal leave represented by the y-axis using percentage for each department. So we can see here is the results. We also created a table to show the value for each season's revenue, customers, and sales quantity. So you can see here. And we also add a slicer for year. So if you select, this is for all, but if you select for 2017, it will appear for 2017 only. Another slicer that we use is season. So let's say when you click fall, a line will appear on the season. So for this, we select fall. March to May will have a black line, and also for fall on the bottom, we'll have a dot as well to represent the season. Let's discuss the analysis for the visuals just now. The first one, yearly breakdown by seasons for revenue, customer, and sales quantity. We can see the trend here, and you can see that it can be divided into 3: pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. The visuals show distinct differences in these 3 periods, especially in post-COVID era. Hence, the visual can be used to recognize which season need more actions to be taken and the improvement on the yearly results. The visual shows sales performance across months and season. And we can see, although overall, year-end and beginning of the year have better performances, each year shows different pattern in each month. Hence, we can now target on which month need extra attention and which month we can generate extra revenue. Then, we can dive deeper by departmental performances in every season as shown in the visuals below to see in which department we need to focus more on. By seeing overall department performances across seasons and different year also, we can target to plan and perform better. The next one, the bar chart, is used to analyze how each department reacts from one season to another in terms of revenue, customers, and sales quantity. We measure by percentage to measure the seasonal leaf view, which helps to identify and turn general strategies into targeted seasonal action plans, such as adjust marketing timing, improve inventory planning, and also optimize seasonal planning campaigns for each department.
Hi, my name is Ameer. I'm responsible to design and create this dashboard titled Department Performance Comparison of Revenue and Margin Goals. This dashboard is designed to be user-friendly and easy to use for anyone, especially management, to see which department is high performing or low performing when comparing to their revenue and margin goals against actual results. On the right side of the dashboard, we have some scatter plots, comparing actual revenue and profit margin against their goals by department. On the bottom, we have a stack line chart to see the actual revenue trend alongside with a revenue goal line for the whole period the department store was established. On the bottom right side, we have a department filter where we precisely filter the department that we want to see. Meanwhile, on the left side of the dashboard, we can see a top performing area where we can see the departments with the best performing revenue goals and margin goals. On the bottom left side, we have a low performing area where we can see the department with the lowest performing revenue goals and margin goals. And lastly, we on the top left, we have a button to filter period to pre and post COVID-19 era and the total period from which the department was established. We will get into why we did this soon. First, we need to know what metrics to use and calculate performance. To measure the department's performance, we use the sum of revenue and average of margin, then compare them to their differences of their goals respectively. In total, from 2017 to 2022, all the departments underperformed compared to their revenue and margin goals. But does this mean the department store was not doing well from the start? No, actually, what happened was the department store was doing well in 2017 up until 2019. But the global pandemic called COVID 19 severely affected their revenue in 2020 to 2022. This is why we created the period filter in the dashboard for pre and post COVID 19. Now, let's go into further details about their performance during this period. For the period before COVID 19, that is between the year 2017 up until 2019, we can see that all the departments here actually achieve or surpass their goals in terms of revenue or margin. As you can see here, in terms of revenue, the electronics department ranked as number one with an excess revenue of 5.1 million. Home and living next at second with 4.3 million. Next is sports and outdoors at third, 3.7 million. And so on is clothing at 2.9 million, toys at 2.1 million, fashion accessories at 0.9 million, and lastly, stationery and office supplies at 0.6 million. All of them actually had an excess of revenue. In terms of margin, all of them actually achieved the margin goals set by them during the time. And this shows that the department store was actually profitable and performing well during this period. But what happened after COVID 19? For the period after COVID 19, that is between the year 2020 up until 2022, you can see that all of the department is actually underperforming. They missed their goals entirely in terms of revenue and margin. In terms of revenue, even the number one department is this that is the stationery and office supplies is short of their goals by 0.9 million. Next, fashion accessories, 1 million. Toys, 2.6 million. Clothing, 3.6 million. Sports and outdoors, 5.2 million. Home and living, 5.7 million. And lastly, electronics, short of by a whopping 6.9 million. During this time, all of them actually did not achieve their revenue goals. But what about in terms of margin? This same story could be said. All of them did not achieve their margin goals. They were short by from ranging from 0.01 up until 0.04 as you can see in the table above. Now that we have understood the situation before and after COVID for the department store sales, can we determine the best department and the worst department overall? The answer to that is yes. With all the data we have collected, using the total performance ranking of revenue goals and margin goals of 2017 up until 2022, we can determine the best and the worst department in the store by using weighted average of ranking for each department of their ranks in their revenue and margin performance. We have concluded the best performing department ranking overall. At number 1, clothing department. Number 2, toys. 3, fashion accessories. 4th, stationery and office supplies. 5th, home and living. 6th, electronics. 7th, sports and outdoors. Despite the underperformance of every department in total from 2017 up until 2022, we have also determined that the store is not a lost cause. With proper strategies and planning, the department store's performance could be improved. moving forward and recovering from the impact of COVID-19.
Welcome to the seller efficiency dashboard. This is to answer our research question, which sellers consistently convert customer engagement into value. Let's begin with the scatter chart on the left. This visual maps all sellers based on two performance indicators: revenue per customer on the x-axis and goal consistency percentage on the y-axis. Each bubble represents one seller. The size of the bubble reflects their sales quantity, while the color shows their efficiency quadrant classification, whether they are top performer, efficient but inconsistent, consistent but low efficiency, or low performers. You can use the filter by seller drop-down to isolate any individual seller. This helps you locate their position in their chart and examine their unique performance pattern. Meanwhile, the filter by performance option lets you narrow down sellers based on their behavioral quadrant. For instance, if you want to focus only on top performers or see how low performers cluster. To view details of any seller, just hover over a bubble. A tooltip will appear showing their quadrant classification, revenue per customer, goal consistency, total sales quantity, and the seller's name. This makes it easy to interpret performance at a glance. Moving to the right panel, you will see two KPI cards. The first one highlights the top performing seller based on both revenue and consistency. The second card shows the best performing division based on overall seller efficiency in that department. Below that, we have a line chart showing the rolling average revenue across time from 2017 to 2022. This helps us analyze how seller revenues fluctuated during key periods, especially around the COVID-19 lockdown phase, which is clearly marked on the chart. The rolling trend gives us insight into seller stability, revenue recovery, and post-pandemic adaptation. To summarize, this page serves as a dynamic entry point into our seller analysis. It allows users to interactively explore individual and group performance, track trends over time, and identify who's consistently turning engagement into measurable value. Moving on to the second page of the dashboard, under seller efficiency, this view zooms into department-level insights and brings forward a deeper understanding of seller dynamics. Let's begin with the bar chart at the top. This visual breaks down the count of sellers by department, color-coded based on their efficiency quadrant. It allows us to quickly identify which departments are dominated by top performers and which ones are struggling with low efficiency or inconsistency. The three drop-down filters at the top, filter by seller, performance, and department, can be used interactively to explore specific groupings. For example, if I filter by consistent but low efficiency, I can instantly see which departments carry the most of these sellers. Or if I choose a specific seller, the chart and the efficiency summary table below will update accordingly, which is helping us to trace which seller belongs to which quadrant and department, along with their individual revenue per customer. Now on the bottom right, we have the resilience score chart, which works slightly differently. This visual displays the top 5 most resilient sellers based on the calculated score, where lower is better. The score is the average of their rank in revenue, goal consistency, and quantity sold. By keeping this section static and unaffected by the filters above, users always have a benchmark group to compare against. These are the individuals who consistently perform well even under difficult or fluctuating conditions. Why does this matter? It makes the dashboard user-friendly, insight-rich, and highly navigable. Whether someone wants to explore by department, performance type, or individual seller, this page enables a clear understanding of where strengths and gaps lie, and most importantly, who the consistent value converters are. Let's take a closer look at how we categorize seller performance behaviorally by dividing them into 4 strategic quadrants based on 2 core metrics, which is revenue per customer, indicating efficiency, and also goal consistency, which reflects reliability in meeting targets. First, we start with the top performer quadrant. Sellers in this group consistently meet or exceed their goals while generating high revenue per customer. This quadrant is essentially the gold standard. The sellers here are not just productive, they are also disciplined. The interesting thing is that Leticia Ribeiro stands out here, leading with the highest combined efficiency and consistency scores, which make her a strong candidate for internal benchmarking and leadership in best practice sharing. Departments like clothing, fashion accessories, and toys dominate this quadrant, indicate that sellers here likely have a deep understanding of customer needs, strong sales techniques, and also effective follow-up habits. Next, we have the consistent but low efficiency group. Sellers in this quadrant are disciplined and structured, often hitting their targets, but with lower revenue per customer. This suggests that while they are putting in effort, there may be issues in sales strategy, product mix, or pricing that reduce their overall yield. This quadrant has a heavy presence for electronics, and stationary, possibly reflecting more process-driven work but lower flexibility or upselling effectiveness. We also have the efficient but inconsistent quadrant. Sellers here can drive strong revenue, but they lack goal discipline. Their performance might rely on short-term bursts or one-time promotions rather than sustainable strategies. You will notice many sellers here are from toys or fashion accessories, which may indicate seasonal sales dependencies or reliance on limited-time product spikes. The implication here is that while they can perform, they are harder to rely on over time. Finally, we have the low performance quadrants. This group struggles on both fronts: low revenue, low goal achievement. While the root causes may vary, it could be misalignment, lack of motivation, or even poor support structures. This quadrant represents a critical performance gap. Interestingly, this group is mostly concentrated in home and living and also sports and outdoors, even though those departments have strong seasonal potential. This might hint at missed opportunities post-COVID or challenges adapting to new customer behaviors. To close off this RQ, I wanted to go beyond surface level performance and zoom into something more strategic, which is resilience. This slide introduced the resilience score, a metric I calculated to evaluate how well a seller sustains stable performance under fluctuating business conditions across revenue volatility, customer engagement, and sales consistency. Here, a lower score equals to stronger resilience. From the chart, 5 sellers emerge as the most resilient, including Leticia Ribeiro, Ana Sousa, Enzo Nascimento, William Santos, and Viteria Ribeiro. And what's powerful here is that these sellers came from different departments, showing that resilience isn't industry-bound, but seller-driven. It reflects adaptability, smart customer handling, and emotional intelligence in managing change. Leticia Ribeiro, in particular, sets the benchmark, not just with high revenue and goal consistency, but with a resilience score of 7.33, the lowest in this analysis. Even after the sharp pandemic dip, her revenue rebounded steadily and maintained momentum. She's the definition of balanced excellence, making her a strong candidate for internal benchmarking and lead by example recognition. Sellers like her aren't just high-performing, they are strategic anchors. They are the one you trust with premium portfolios, pilot campaigns, and leadership roles.
Good evening, I'm Noor ASHIKIN, and this is the dashboard I've prepared to explore the fourth business problem: what patterns exist in missed revenue and margin goals, and are they the result of unrealistic or misaligned targets? So, starting from the top, users can switch between revenue and margin views. On the left, there are filters to select specific departments or to view by sellers, as well as options for yearly or monthly breakdowns. If no specific year is selected, the dashboard displays overall data from 2017 to 2022. The summary cards on the top right give a quick snapshot of total variance and goal aggressiveness. Below that, there's a breakdown of missed target count by year and month, along with tables showing how these misses are distributed across different years and departments. So the line chart shows trends in variance and aggressiveness over time. Users can switch between monthly or yearly view, and tooltips allow them to see exact values for each point. Next, the heat map highlights department level performance, where green cells indicate months that met or exceeded targets, and red cells show when goals were missed. Finally, the scatter plot compares aggressiveness and variance with market size based on actual revenue and tooltips for additional detail. So that wraps up the walkthrough of how the dashboard works. Next, I'll move into the analysis and share key insights drawn from the data. This analysis explores whether missed revenue and margin targets were the result of poor performance or if the goals themselves were too ambitious. To evaluate this, two key metrics are used. The variance shows how far actual results were from the targets. Goal aggressiveness compares how much higher the new goal is compared to the previous actual. These metrics help reveal whether the business was truly underperforming or simply chasing goals it couldn't realistically reach. Across 6 years, revenue targets were missed in nearly half of the months. From 2017 to 2019, performance was strong. No targets were missed, but in 2020, the situation changed dramatically with 12 months falling short. Stationery and office supplies missed the most targets, followed closely by clothing and sports. Even the best departments like fashion and accessories still missed goals in over a third of the months, showing how widespread the issue was. Between 2017 and 2019, monthly revenue trends were stable. Most months exceeded targets and goal aggressiveness was kept in check. But in 2020, performance collapsed, especially during the lockdown in April and May. But targets stayed high. Aggressiveness even peaked around July, pushing goals further out of reach. Recovery began in 2021, and by the end of 2022, revenue performance had closed the gap, thanks in part to more grounded goal setting. The heat map highlights how severe the revenue drop was in 2020. Electronic faced the worst gap. By 2022, some recovery is visible. The scatter plots have explained why. Department and sellers with higher goal aggressiveness tended to have worse variance. Stationery and office supplies stands out with extremely aggressive goals, poor results, and low revenue, suggesting that unrealistic planning played a bigger role than actual effort. Compared to revenue, margin targets were much harder to reach. Out of 72 months, only one showed positive margin variance. Most months ended below target, especially in 2020 and 2021. Stationery and office supplies again missed the most, but no department consistently achieved its margin goals. This indicates that the issue wasn't isolated. It was a systemic problem affecting the store's ability to meet profitability expectations. Looking at the monthly trend from 2017 to 2019, margin performance was fairly consistent with target closely matched to actuals. But in 2020, margins collapsed during the lockdown. At the same time, targets spiked in aggressiveness, with July reaching nearly 200%. This created a wide and unrealistic gap. In 2021, goals were adjusted slightly, and by the end of 2022, margin variance turned positive, showing signs of recovery supported by more reasonable targets. Next, the heat map for margin variance shows that margin shortfalls weren't limited to the pandemic years. They were already present before. Still, 2022 saw improvement, with fashion accessories leading in performance. The scatter plot shows that most departments had similar aggressiveness, yet outcomes varied widely. Among sellers, Leticia Ribeiro stood out by achieving strong margins with mid-level targets, suggesting her planning was more in tune with actual capacity. Lastly, in summary, missed goals, especially on margins, were often caused by misaligned planning, not underperformance. Aggressive targets stayed in place even as sales dropped, especially during the pandemic. The same level of aggressiveness was applied across the board, ignoring past results. By 2022, we see improvement as goals became more cautious and tailored. This shows the value of realistic, data informed target setting for driving actual performance. That's all from me. Thank you.
Let me demonstrate how my dashboard provides actionable insights to forecasting. Using the sports and outdoors department as an example. On the left, I have selected the department using the slicer. All visuals instantly update to reflect its performance. At the top, the performance forecast chart shows historical revenue trends with a forecast projection for the next 6 months. As you can see, the trend is fairly flat with minimal forecasted growth. Below that, the actual versus rolling average revenue chart smooths out month-to-month spikes. The department shows strong seasonal revenue before 2020, but performance has clearly flattened in recent years. On the right, the KPI cards summarize the outlook. Forecasted revenue for the next 6 months is 12,000 ringgit, with only 0.63% growth from the previous period, a clear indicator of stagnation. Lastly, the forecast versus target visuals shows a gap. The department is forecasted to earn 1.37 million ringgit, well below its goal of 38 million ringgit. This dashboard makes it easy to identify underperforming segments like this, so leaders can act early. This slide presents the forecast versus goal analysis by department. helping us evaluate how well each department is expected to perform in the coming months. On the left, we see sports and outdoors, which is forecasted to generate 267.77 thousand ringgit, exceeding its target of 197.71 thousand ringgit. That is overachievement of nearly 35%. This suggests a strong post-pandemic recovery, possibly driven by rising consumer interest in health, fitness, and outdoor activities. On the right, however, we have home and living department, which is forecasted to bring in 226.95 thousand ringgit, just under its goal of 228.58 thousand ringgit. While the shortfall is small, the forecast trend appears stagnant, indicating potential saturation or weakening demand. In summary, this visual highlights how forecasting can guide department-level decision-making, helping us support high performers while correcting costs for underachievers. Thank you.
To address the insights uncovered across our 5 research questions, we propose a series of strategic little actions aimed at driving both departmental and seller level performance improvements. Starting with our Q1, which explored how revenue, customer volume, and sales quantity fluctuate seasonally, we recommend seasonal optimization, which involving customizing campaigns by category, such as toys in December or fashion in summer, and using historical pattern to forecast inventory, staffing, and marketing. By anticipating high demand months and preparing for off-peak periods through bundling strategies, stores can better align their operations with shopper behavior. For our Q2, on evaluating department performance, we propose a departmental performance enhancement strategy. High-performing departments should double down on exclusive, financing perks, and seasonal cross-sells. Underperforming departments can be uplifted by bundling products with top categories or aligning campaigns with specific consumer moments like school breaks or gifting seasons. This is to leverage the performance dynamics that we discovered. To address our Q3, which looks into seller efficiency and value conversion, we recommend strategic seller pairing. This means to pair high resilience sellers like Leticia Ribeiro with underperformers for peer mentoring. It's a low-cost yet high-impact move that enables knowledge transfer and boosts seller confidence and output organically. For our Q4, on why sellers or department miss their targets, we present a goal alignment strategy. So instead of blanket targets, we suggest to customize goals using recent performance data and department-specific trends. Involving frontline teams in goal setting and tracking goal aggressiveness, we can ensure the target to remain realistic, especially during disruptions. For our Q5, on forecasting future performance from past trends, we propose a strategic economic slump forecast. This is to use real-time alerts and adaptive forecasting. The performance tips can be detected early before targets are missed. This allows us to respond proactively, especially in a volatile post-COVID retail climate. In a sense, the strategic recommendations form a cohesive blueprint, not only to close existing performance gaps, but to proactively future-proof retail operations across both people and process dimensions.
To conclude our presentation, from 2017 up until 2020, our analysis uncovered that impressive revenue numbers often mask deeper issues, like inconsistent seller performance, aggressive targets, and seasonal misalignment. The pandemic amplified these cracks, particularly in departments like electronics and stationery. Yet tools like forecasting, lift analysis, and resilience scoring revealed where underperformance can be spotted early. The takeaway? Sustainable growth comes not from chasing top-line numbers alone, but from smarter goal setting, empowered sellers, and seasonal attuned strategies. With this insight, we're no longer guessing, we are guiding. Let's move forward not just with data, but with direction. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a nice day.